laughs, Dylan. She doesn't care. I don't. It's the only weather song that I can think of. Oh, really? You're not hearing me? Hold on. I can check this now because I have headphones. I'm hearing me. Yep. That's how I'm going to be doing my Skype tomorrow. We have a Skype set tomorrow with Dan Noah from the Weather Service. I actually have a webcast and some stuff I got to do, but let's talk tropics, shall we? I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do my best to not talk baseball. Actually, I will briefly, because I've been talking to Dave Wills quite a bit on Twitter, which, by the way, Dave Wills 34, that's his Twitter name, and super guy. Responds to stuff, talks baseball. And here's what I like about him. He talks good and bad about players. He doesn't always try to spin things, no pun intended, with what's popping out there. He strike? Mike, why did you say strike? I'm trying to think about that one. Mike is spaghettymodels.com. Maybe strike as in, I don't know. Okay, anyway. He calls him like he sees him. Now, in my personal opinion, when I listen to Rich Herrera, I think Rich, very rarely do I ever hear him say anything about one of the players that isn't favorable. It isn't always like that, but I would be critical of someone, I think, a little more than he is, and sometimes that would bother me. Well, that being said, today I was listening to Rich after the post game, and I thought I was leaving the game, and if you heard the end of the broadcast, you could tell I have a complete new view of him. I mean, I know he loves the team, he follows the team, but I was listening to his prologue, if you will, as he was finishing it up, and he was choking up to the point of losing it on air. And that's something that I can relate to. When you give a part of yourself to any sports team, college, professional, whatever, and when something, you literally, I mean, that's why, like, even Jay is a huge Red Sox fan. I would never rub salt in the wound of a true sports fan, because when they lose, I know what that feeling's like, which is what I felt like they with the Rays. But I heard that in Rich, and he was talking about, you could hear him, he was losing. He was starting to break down, talking about how great of a season it was. So it was an amazing season. I'm hoping next year's just as good. Hopefully the Lightning will give us a lot of joy. But anyway, my point is, in listening to Rich the last 15 minutes or so of the show, was very impressive, and it showed me that he does truly have a passion for that team, as a lot of us do here in the Bay Area. I mean, you grow up watching a team from its inception. There's something about that you take to heart, and I certainly have, and so I was very sad. So thank you for these for the words of encouragement. Now let's talk topics quickly, and I think that we definitely have something going on. All right, and let's just jump right into it. Okay, pick a model, any model, right? Because if you look, depending on what model you go with, we could start with, well, let's start with Mike. Since Mike is here, we'll start with spaghettymodels.com, because we love the site, and it's always a really good indicator of whether the computer's going to crash, because it always tells us what's going on. And if my CPU is saying danger, danger, Will Robinson, you'll know that there's something going on. And right now it is not saying danger. Oh, nope, it is not saying danger, danger, Will Robinson. It's good. There we are, right up top. This is Mike's page, spaghettymodels.com. Great, great, great site. One thing that we have showed you so many times would be the month of October. And looking at, this is all pretty small for me, but I think it's this one. No, that's September. Okay, so the one below it would be October, right? Right. So we take our little zoom feature, we head on over, and boy, I got to figure out a way to get it so I can grab this bar a little bit easier, because the bar's doing the little flip up and flip down thing, like when you put the toolbar down. So I want to lock it so it, never mind, I'm not even going to mess with it. The thing's going up, down, and I can't grab the thing. I can't grab the bottom of the zoom feature. So Let's try it the old-fashioned way. Let's just move it, and then we can zoom it better. All right. Oh, my heavens. Okay, this is what we're talking about, which I've already shown you a million times, but I will show you again. Did St. Louis lose, Randy? I did not even look. They must have, based on what you're... Hey, Paul, how you doing? Dylan, you can't see the site? Oh, really? Oh, yeah, look what I clicked. Okay, there we are. There it is. Now, if you look, there would be the path of a system in October. Well, go figure. That is exactly what the models are hinting at. And it isn't just one or two. It's pretty much most of them now. So quickly, let's show, what was the sound effect? What did I do? Oh, my sound effect, that's right. Zoop. All right, so watch what we got here. Go into one at a time, shall we? We will start with the euro. Here is the euro. Now, the 0Z euro had a tropical storm. I'll zoom this one in too. Okay. Zoop. All right. All right, so let's take it. Let's zoom in right on the area that we have to worry about, which would be, where's the United States in this mess? Okay, right? Okay, this is the euro. This is the 12Z euro. Got it? Zoom in. Okay, there's Florida. Oh, look what happens at 120 hours. Okay. Look what's at 144, 168. Now, this is a little bit more to the west than it was earlier. Earlier, it was pretty much right on top of Tampa. Now, it is a little bit more toward the panhandle. This is sometime on Monday. That is the euro operational. Oh, look, there's Mike's page again. Let's get rid of that because that's going to crash my computer again. No offense, Mike. I love your page. All right, let's go to the ensemble. See what that shows. The ensembles show a similar thing. Usually ensembles are a little bit less. The ensemble is nothing more than a compilation or an average, if you will, of all the individual runs that they have within the euro. So the ensembles usually are a little less intense very often than what the operational will be. So again, that isn't really any big deal. But look at the GFS. Now this is interesting. This is the 18Z GFS, which sometimes can be a little wacky. But this is the first time the GFS has really picked up on this. The 12Z did not look very impressive. But look what, once the ridge goes, this is at 100. This is every 3 hours, by the way. Notice it. That's why it shows more. Look what's beginning. Now, you could argue what's coming in from the southeast. Could it be the remnants of Philippe? A little piece of it? No, look at that little Fujiwara going on up there. Never mind. All right, so there you go. There's a little something there. Or a big something there. And that's the GFS at 168 hours. So here's the one thing that we want to remember. GFS has a tropical storm. No, that's a hurricane. The GFS has a hurricane on the east coast of Florida in 168 hours. The Euro has a hurricane on the west coast of Florida in 168 hours. Relatively good agreement, don't you think? So because of that, when our two better models are showing that, that's certainly something to look forward to. Now the Canadian, interestingly enough, the Canadian earlier had, Canadian doesn't even want to connect now. The Canadian earlier had something that was deeper in the Caribbean that was shooting up. Now, we'll never know because it's not connecting. Let's try it again. By the way, I've not even looked here. I'm just checking the monitor. I'm not checking. Kim says, yikes. Donna wants to know what the green blob is. That would be Rena, Donna. That's a hurricane. Okay. Now, okay, before we get too caught up in all of this, what did I say last night? What I said last night is if there was anything to worry about, I would say, run! No, I would say, just keep your eyes on it and we'll kind of go from there, right? Canadian will not. The FS, either I'm losing internet connection or it's hits the FSU tropical site. So let's try something different. Let's look at the NCEP. Yep, NCEP works, so it's definitely not us. Atlantic, GFS, 18Z. Oh, this is the, ooh, are we starting? No, not quite. I was going to say, are we starting to get the 0Z yet? But not quite. 10 meter, loop ball. Okay, here we go. All right, here's just going to loop, and we'll just watch it and see how the 18Z actually plays out the entire run. Yeah, see, now the 18Z definitely picks it up on the East Coast and brings it north. Yeah, and I think Jonathan probably hits the nail on the head right there. It's going to be a wet weekend either way for most of Florida. I'm inclined to think more probably Sunday more so than Monday. All depends how fast. The Euro is a little bit, the timing of this is a little bit different based on the Euro compared to the GFS. The GFS seems to be a little bit slower to me, about 2 days slower. The Canadian was actually showing some pretty decent development. Let's see if I want to show you that because it was worth looking at. But it would not load for me here. And the FSU site's still not loading, so never mind. Jonathan, what are people up there saying? Are they noting it all of a sudden, or are they pretty much at this point not really worried too much about it yet? I'm kind of curious. What this means, Michael, as we go back to spaghettymodels.com, is that there is a very high likelihood of a tropical cyclone, either a tropical storm or even a hurricane, affecting Florida by the middle of next week. That's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man. Does anybody know where that's from? Does anybody know where that's from? Somebody knows where that's from. And I'm not going to continue until I see what that shows. Now there's the delay, so there's going to be the whole delay thing. That's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man. Okay, where is it from? Come on. Scratching heads. What's he talking about? Come on, guys. Wait a minute. Randy's asking about a dust storm. Danny's wanting to know if he needs to evacuate. And I'm quoting, I'm playing movie quote trivia. And apparently nobody knows where that is from. True Grit. It's from True Grit. It was said in both movies. It was said in the original by John Wayne, and it was actually said as well in the remake. So, tisk, tisk. Why is this not loading? There we go. Here's the Canadian. Okay, so let's go back and show the Canadian. Now, the Canadian was developing it way more into the Caribbean and then really ramping it up, bringing it into South Florida at 168. Now, oh, look at that little spin. Okay, watch this right there. And then it's trying to decide where the center of circulation is. It's not really sure, right? It could be one or the other. I don't think that's two different storms. By the way, when I talk about Fujiwara, wow, look in the Pacific. 1, 2, 3. That is 3 different storms. Fujiwara is when storms actually spin around each other. Instead of attract each other, they repel each other in a sense, and they kind of dance around each other, and it's what tropical systems are known to do, and it's what Irene and Lee were potentially going to do, but really never did. All right, so anyway, so there you have it. Now, I don't know if the Hurricane Center has even addressed this. I have not looked at, I've been watching baseball all day, but I don't think, since there's really any, have they said anything? How come they're not watching it? Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, look, now all these True Grit show up. Oh, man. Yeah, my thing wasn't refreshing, apparently, because I'm getting about zip, 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 zip. Look at all these posts. Whoa. Oh, Matthew Googled it. All right, there you go. Yes, it was Rooster Cogburn. All right, so really, they're not watching it. Well, they will be tomorrow or the next day, I suspect. So anyway, here's what this means to you. Today Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Today's Tuesday. Okay. I would say by Friday morning, you would see a broad area of low pressure if this were to develop, and that's the thing that you guys got to remember, because this is something that is not there yet. Well, let's look at the AccuWeather one. That looked pretty good. What did NWS say? Well, you know what? Let's look. Jonathan just teased us here. Let's just see what NWS said in Miami. Which, by the way, we will be talking with the tropical guy at the Weather Service in Ruskin tomorrow, Dan Noah. We will be Skyping with Dan, and as you know now, we've got our Skype really down. So I know, Paul. So we will we'll be good to go. Wait a minute. What are they bold with in their wordings? Now I'm very curious. But do they mention it all in their AFDs? Long term. Let's see what this says here. Let's see if I can zoom on this and you guys can see it. Oh man, this is awesome. Look at that. We certainly can zoom, can't we? All right, going in. Okay. This was from the Weather Service in Miami. Long-range guidance continues to indicate kind of hybrid cyclone. So see, they're calling it more subtropical, which I don't necessarily disagree with at this point. Euro shows development more to the west of South Florida in the Gulf, and the GFS is now showing it on the east side, which is what we just talked about. Large uncertainty. Yeah, I would go that. Can you guys see this? Let's go even tighter here. Okay. All right. Both agree heavy rain, significant increase, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so here's what they're saying. They're saying, I don't know what's going to happen. They're saying, let's wait and see if we get any continuity. Let's see if the models. Now, remember, the Euro has shown this for 3 days now. So there has been some consistency in the models with the Euro as far as I'm concerned. We've been talking about this for weeks. I mean, it's based on the way things were shaping up, it seemed as though it was bound to happen. We've been talking about it literally since mid-September. So I'm inclined to think it's going to happen. Now, what does that mean to us at this point? We'll go realistic possibility right now of some pretty heavy rain. What would be worst case scenario? Can't even give you a worst case scenario because, I mean, technically worst case scenario is a low develops in the Caribbean, intensifies in that real warm water and blows into Florida. Is that a possibility? Sure it is. We've been talking about this for years. It is a possibility. Do any of the models show that? No. None of the models show that. It's also a week out, maybe 6 days. They wouldn't show it this far out anyway. So we will be having a weather chat every night. It may not be at 7 o'clock. I will give plenty of notice about when it's going to be. John, if you're around, I would love to have you stop by too and throw in your 2 cents. Thank you, Jennifer. I know I'm devastated. Yeah, 1 to 2. The chat's delaying. Thank you, Randy, because I think that's exactly what's going on. I'm going to ask our people about that because that's completely unacceptable. If this is going to be an interactive forum, I need to be able to see what you guys are saying while at least within a 15-second span of when you're actually saying it. So yet again, let's let Blake Sabatinelli, and here I will show you where Blake is because he's probably sleeping right now. So let's go ahead and do Blake. We should I won't do it. I'll tell him myself tomorrow. Let's go back and look at the Euro. There it is. Let's see what the Euro is showing. Can I root for the Phillies? No, I can't root for the Phillies. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Have put chat on the side. Yeah, you know what? Those are the 2 things. Absolutely. Very, very good idea, Randy. Chat on the side and work on the delay. All right, now I want you to see something. Here's the Euro, okay? Now it develops it right about there and then brings it north and then catches a trough and then kicks northeast. This is only 1,000 millibars. Not even that. Really only about 1,002 to 1,004. GFS seems to be a little bit stronger. The intensity really doesn't matter at this point. Don't get caught up in the model 6 days out. This is all we got to do, and then I got to actually put my show together. Odds are there will be a tropical cyclone of some sort in the Gulf or in the Caribbean this weekend. It's going to go north. If it's more in Cuba side, it would be weaker. Obviously, if it happens to straddle the area of Cuba and the Yucatan, it would be stronger. See, because there's nothing there yet. So that's why I'm saying there's nothing to worry about, because literally there's nothing there yet. There will be, I think, something there, and when that happens, then we'll watch it, which is why we're going to have a web chat every day. But notice the GFS, which we have right here, as it loads, we can go up to 168, and it's probably going to show something very similar to what the Euros showed. So there it is. There's your development starting broad east side of the state. So that's 1004, 1002. It's interesting. See, it looks like it's kicking across Cuba, and then it starts to rotate a little bit. So this is guesswork right now. We probably have a better idea once we see what develops, if it develops, which would be on Friday. We'll see where the circulation center is. At that point, we'll know if land's going to impede. We'll know if there's any shear going on. We'll know all the little variables that are going to come into play. The problem is, I'm afraid once this develops and once it gets cranked, we're only going to have about a 48-hour stretch. That's the absolute important thing to remember out of all of this. Once this develops, if it develops, it would be on a Friday or a Saturday of this week. It would make landfall within 2 days if it does. So we probably don't have a lot of time if something were to form. At this point, we're talking about 1,000. I think the strongest I was seeing was 998. You know, that could be a strong tropical storm, minimal hurricane. Possibility. Again, Miami's saying a hybrid, subtropical, a lot of variables coming into play, but there's your timetable. We'll do chats. We'll get a better idea how the models are handling this tomorrow, Thursday. I expect broad low pressure in the Caribbean Friday or Saturday, probably a quick ramp up like that, and by Monday it's already ejecting off to the northeast. Whether it's in the Gulf side, whether it's over us, or whether it's to the east, it all depends where the low-level circulation is, and it's not there yet. So it's pretty much that simple. But it is one that needs to be watched because, okay, you see Ron English right there? You see that Ron English person? On so many levels, I could trash him. Incompetence, Minnesota Twins fan who did not know who Francisco Liriano was. He's our floor director out here. In fact, I would point the camera over there, but he's telling me we need to do D2, which is the recorded thing on our weather channel and the things that we do on another show. So that must mean that I must go. So, yeah, Matthew, the thing about Charlie, we at least saw it coming a little bit. We're talking 48 hours probably. From development to landfall, we're talking 2 days. The good news is very rarely would you see anything really blow up in that amount of time, but it is a possibility if it develops right here, because it would have a lot of energy right there coming in and quickly eject to northeast, not having a chance to really shear out or weaken much in the cooler water because it would be moving so quickly. So that's our situation here. It's not anything I'm worried about, but as Jonathan said, it could certainly be a very rainy stretch on Sunday and Monday, I'm more inclined to think. And there is an outside chance that this could turn into a hurricane and affect Florida by early next week. So there you have it. So, and yes, I will be talking about this at 11, and I will be talking about it all week because since I no longer have Rays baseball to talk about, it's back to weather, right? So anyway, so thanks for stopping by. I got to get my show ready. I will talk about it tonight. We will have another web chat tomorrow. The timing, I'm not exactly sure. No, I would not worry about shutters at this point. I really wouldn't. But you're asking me, is there a possibility this could quickly turn into something? The answer is yes, it is a possibility. I'm not going to write it off. If it develops in that certain spot, quickly ramps up in that warm water down there, and then it quickly ejects northeastward, it wouldn't have the time for it to, it's going to freeze, I guess. I'll do this slowly. There's Ron. That's the person who said we had to do D2. So, Yeah, there'd be enough to cancel school if we were under a tropical storm or hurricane warning, I'm sure, Linda. Um, it's just all it all depends on if it really develops and everything else. So we're right in the beginning of it. We'll keep you up to date. I'll talk to you more about it tomorrow, and of course tonight at 11. And Wayne and Stephanie will have more tomorrow. I'll have more tomorrow afternoon, and we'll hang out. But at this point, ain't nothing to worry about. Just remember, once we get going, Friday or Saturday, you've got about 2 days before whatever it is probably going to develop and quickly go into the Panhandle or us or the East Coast. Okay? Okay. We will talk to you guys later. And looks like we didn't freeze tonight. Everything worked okay. And have a good night, guys. We will talk to you tomorrow. And we'll see you hopefully tonight at 11. Bye.